All right. Am I live? If you can see me right now, let me know in the comment section. Let me know in the comments. Can you see me now? All right. I think I'm here. All right. So we had some big technical difficulties this evening here. I'm gonna have to switch over to another streaming platform completely. The free ones are horrible. So let's get started with the first story. So first off, Wells Fargo extends sign-up bonus deadline for the autograph card. So Wells Fargo apologized for delaying customers receiving their new autograph card, and some of whom received them more than 3 weeks after approval. They have extended the deadline to meet the spend requirement for the sign-up bonus and the end of the intro 0% APR period by 60 days. One person applied for the autograph on January 2nd and was approved and received their card 12 days later. Their intro 0% APR was originally set to end on January 18th of 2024, but now it will extend to March 18th, despite expectations of a delay due to the smart chip shortage. The author received their card earlier than expected. So, this seems to be an issue that is kind of plaguing the cars these days. That it's like hit or miss. When somebody might, if you sign up for a new car, you're expecting to get that within 5 to 10 business days, and it might get pushed out by a few weeks to a month even. So just be aware that these things are happening with the cards. And I actually said this in a previous episode that we they should start counting the days from when they actually ship the card to you, not from the day that you open the account. Because if you're having issues like this, you don't want to have to, you might as well put that into your policy that you're counting from the day the card ships out, just in case people are confused. You don't want to limit the amount of time that people have to get those sign up bonuses, because sometimes the sign up bonuses are like a few $1,000s requirement. Next we have Bread, Discover, and JP Morgan Chase report higher credit card delinquencies. So 3 companies saw their higher credit card delinquency and charge-off rates rise in February. Bread Financial, Discover, and JP Morgan Chase reported in recent press releases and SEC filings that these figures for February were higher than those for both the month before and a year earlier. Bread Financial said its delinquency rate was 6% in February, up from 5.8% in January and 4.4% in February of 2022. Discover also saw higher rates. Its credit card delinquency rate reached 2.74% in February, up from 2.6%. And JP Morgan Chase also saw an increase in February, and it's higher to 0.83%. So we're going to continue to see delinquencies rise in the coming months. And look, what do we have? Bank failures going on. We got a looming recession if we're not already in one. So I'm sure that they're going to see some losses. But it's interesting how you see these credit card companies are still offering like record high sign-up bonuses, like Chase with their business cards. That's going to be ending actually in a few days. I think it's in 2 days that will be ending. So if you want to take advantage of that, the Chase Inc. business sign-up bonuses, they're like $900 to $1,000 now. But it's interesting that you still see them trying to acquire new customers, even though they're losing money, from some of their borrowers. So next, let me go to the next story here. Here are 7 warning signs of problem credit card usage. So there are several warning signs that you might be spending too much on your credit cards, and they aren't all obvious. You're getting rejected for balance transfers. You are at or near your spending limit. So if you have a $10,000 limit and you're at $9,000, that's a problem, right? And that's going to really hurt your FICO score. The minimum payments are getting tough to keep up with. You have no idea how much you owe. That's like the general masses, right? Many people in the general public, they want, and we're going to talk about this later, but they want to forget about their credit card usage. They don't want to really think about it. It's painful. You know what I mean? Getting that bill every month, you just want to like shred it, throw it to the side. That's kind of how they operate. You hide your credit card spending. Ooh, you hide your credit card spending? That's what we call financial infidelity, guys. And this happens all the time between married couples, you know, if you're shacking up, whatever, uh, just people living together. This happens all the time. Nobody sees your bank account but you. Just think about how many, how secretive people are with their finances. They want to show you kind of the fruits of their labor, or so it seems, right? And when they really borrowed to get it, borrowed to get that new car, borrowed way too much to get that new house. But they don't want to, they like to be secretive with where the money's coming from and where exactly is being spent and how much. You have more credit cards than you can keep track of. I don't listen. You can never have too many credit cards. That's not a real issue. But if you need to be keeping track of them, you need to keep them in a binder. You need to be, checking up. Have you need to have a good awareness, and you need to have notifications set up so that if something happens with your credit profile, then you get updated immediately. There's a lot of services that do that. Most of your banking apps will do that. Experian, my FICO are just some examples. And so your credit card debt affects your financial life in other ways. And so hopefully those ways are positive. I guess there mean negative ways here, but those are 7 warning signs. I'm sure you guys are good on this. Over 48% say carrying a credit card balance increases your credit score. This is insane. Why? Like, almost half of people believe that spending more money on your credit card, racking that balance up, increases your FICO score. I'm not sorry. I mean, carrying a balance. So they think that if you spend $1,000 on your credit card and you just let it sit and you're paying interest, you're paying 20% interest, 27% interest on that. That's going to increase your FICO score. Yeah, they need some education. A February survey from U.S. News and World Report shows that nearly half of survey respondents believe carrying a balance on credit card improves your credit score. Fortunately, almost 52% know that it doesn't raise your score. And when you carry a balance, let me move this along here. And when you carry a balance, you pay compounding interest on your purchases. Just over 16% of respondents don't know what their credit scores are. Wow, that's pretty sad. Okay, well, like 16% is not too it's not too bad. So they don't know what their FICO scores are. Over 35% say their credit reports contain a breakdown of their credit score, but over 56% were aware that their reports contain a list of their credit activities. Your credit score isn't on your credit report. Right at 47% incorrectly say that an increase in income results in an increase in credit score. A little over 40% correctly identify FICO as a score used most often by lenders. Now, listen, this isn't completely everybody's fault, because the large banks are the major credit bureaus. They created the Vantage 3.0 score, and the banks, Chase is included, Amex is included here. They add in that Vantage score into their banking apps. So you think that this is the score that you need to go by. Just on the surface, you would think, oh, this is the score I'm given. This is the one that makes, that is being used and I'm being judged on. And it truly is not the case. So it's a little bit of some sleight of hand there. It makes it not very intuitive for the general public. Next, we have Visa Mastercard $5.6 billion settlement with retailers is upheld. So a federal appeals court on Wednesday upheld a $5.6 billion antitrust class action settlement with more than 12 million retailers that accused Visa, Inc. and Mastercard of improperly fixing credit and debit card fees. The Second U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals in Manhattan rejected claims that a class action should not have been certified because of confusion over who deserved compensation, and that the $523 million of legal fees awarded to the retailers' lawyers was too high. So, this again, not surprising that you have two large companies that are leading the industry in payment processing. They're going to have some, they're going to be in cahoots. They're going to be working together as like what they call it, crony capitalism. That's not surprising. Next, we have a new CFP, or Consumer Financial Protection Bureau report, reveals the credit habits of buy now, pay later users. And we see this all the time. Between the first quarter of 2021 and the first quarter of 2022, 17% of Americans borrowed using buy now, pay later, a new report by the CFPB on consumer states. And while the survey found many buy now, pay later users have relatively healthy personal finances, it concluded that buy now, pay later borrowers were on average much more likely to be highly indebted, revolve on their credit cards, and have delinquencies in traditional credit products, and use high interest financial services. So yeah, I mean, listen, if you're ever in the position to earn rewards and you choose not to, and you're like, listen, I need to go with the buy now, pay later option, you have to, right? You're not really thinking too hard, because us as credit card enthusiasts, we know that we can get, between 2 and 5% cash back, or even more in a points value if you're using like a Chase Sapphire Preferred card for that purchase. You know that you can get more than just interest-free payments, you know? And so next we have Amex bets on, let's go here. Amex bets on millennials, Gen Z for growth. So, emerging from the Great Recession, American Express was at a crossroads. Executives were debating whether to knock down connotations of exclusivity by serving a broader consumer base, or double down on the premium card space and remain more exclusive. Betting on its aspirational distinction, Amex opted for the latter. About 70% of Amex's new cardholders last year acquired premium cards, which includes any of its cards that come with an annual fee. Millennial and Gen Z consumers made up 3/4 of the new group, a larger share than the company has seen in the last 2 decades. And now, when I see something like this, first off, I mean, I'm a part of the millennial generation, but even the younger people, if you're Gen Z, shout out real quick and let me know in the comment section. Danny said, "I love Amex." What's up, Danny? And I think that it's pretty astonishing that Amex was able to raise the prices, or raise the price of their flagship card, the Platinum, and still acquire them as customers when they're not making that much money. It's harder. It's harder than ever. So it's really it's really harder than ever to kind of make it and buy a car and buy a home in this world. And they're still shelling out big bucks to get access to Amex's premium cards. Um, so listen, it's not for everybody. Obviously, I'm not a gold card holder. I'm not an Amex Platinum card holder. That's just not the way that I spend money. It wouldn't be really valuable for me. But I know that the gold card especially is very popular in our community. And next, guys, if you want to see more streams like the ones that are coming in the future, we had issues today. Go ahead and hit the like button if you want to see more live streams. We're gonna do something cool later with the I have a video plan for reacting to. I'm gonna take a look at it. All right, next we have the long-awaited federal digital payment system to launch in July. By the way, one of my coworkers was very down on this. He said that it was just really, it was really doom and gloom about what this actually meant. The digital system is supposed to like circumvent Bitcoin and other kind of free and open, cryptocurrency payment systems. But the Federal Reserve's digital payment system, which is which it promises will help speed up the way money moves around the world, will debut in July. FedNow will allow bill payments, money transfers, such as paychecks and disbursements from the government, as well as a host of other consumer activities to move more rapidly and at lower costs. Institutions that participate in the program will have 7-day, 24-hour access, as opposed to a system currently in place that closes on the weekends. I can't stand that, by the way. Program advocates say it will get money out to people much more quickly. For instance, they said government payments like those issued in early days of the COVID pandemic would have been credited to accounts immediately rather than the days it took to reach most people. That sounds, I mean, that sounds awesome right there. They kind of got me right at the end. If you can basically for free or for very little transfer money instantaneously, and you can do it during the weekend, then I think that's a strong win. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. What do you think about that? The new federal digital payment system is something you think is going to work out? Next, we have the good, the bad, and the ugly of buying crypto with your credit card. So, as markets continue to fluctuate and volatility remains at an all time high, close to 47 million Americans who have never bought or traded crypto before said in a survey last year that they intend to do so this year. That's surprising. The growing interest in digital currencies and stablecoins has steadily been growing over the last few years, seeing close to 56% of the US adult population saying they have either bought, owned, traded, or invested in some form of crypto in the past. A 2021 survey by Gambler's Pick of 1,000 Americans, crypto investors found that 25% of respondents have bought crypto using a credit card instead of fiat currency. Fiat currency meaning cash. Um, and usually when you're buying with credit cards, there's going to be fees attached most of the time. Some exchanges have made it easier for buyers to purchase crypto, accepting both debit and credit cards as a form of payment. Exchanges such as Pionex, Uphold, Bybit, Binance, CoinSmart, and CoinMama, don't these have like the sleaziest names? Like just some of the shadiest names? Among others, currently allow users to purchase crypto either with a Visa or Mastercard. Listen, if you bought some crypto, let me know if you bought, what crypto did you buy? Are you still high? Are you still kind of bullish on crypto? And have you used a credit card to purchase it? I want to see if anybody in there has done that before. Next, we have mobile payments as an engine for financial inclusion. So, financial inclusion is the ability for individuals and businesses to have access to financial products that are affordable, suitable, and delivered in a way that is sustainable. According to a report by the World Bank, close to a third of adults were still categorized as unbanked. In 2017, approximately half of the unbanked were women from poor households and rural areas or out of the workforce. It has been cited that exclusion from the financial system is one of the biggest hurdles to tackling the issue of poverty on a worldwide scale. In numerous developing countries, well over half of households don't have an account with a financial institution. What's more, small companies mentioned that easy access to affordable financing has also impeded their ability to grow. Mobile payments could revolutionize financial inclusion by providing affordable and efficient transactions, creating a platform for business growth, and enhancing security. And I want to cover a few stories I covered in my newsletter. So let me bring that up real quick. Let me get that up here real quick. I'm going to share my screen with you guys. All right, so you guys should know the Chase Freedom Flex, they announced their Q2 categories. All right, so the categories are Amazon and Lowe's. Cardholders can earn 5% cash back on up to $1,500 in combined purchases. Then it goes down to 1% in these categories, and it's going to be from April 1st to June 30th. After activating the bonus by June 14th. So you actually have until June 14th to activate, and it's going to be basically backdated or post-dated. And all those transactions that you made before, even though that you didn't already hit that button, the activation button, it will apply the 5% bonus to those purchases. So the same categories apply to the OG Chase Freedom Card, which is no longer accepting new applicants. Activation for the Q2 bonus categories started just a few days ago on March 15th. And then what we have here, Chase Sapphire Reserve extends some pay yourself back categories. So for the Chase Sapphire Reserve, they extended pay yourself back to gas and annual fees through the end of next quarter, as reported by Doctor of Credit. And the value of points was reduced from 1.5 cents to 1.25 cents on most popular categories last year. But Chase added new categories such as gas, groceries, and annual fee. And it's unclear if the grocery category will allow or will also be extended for 3 more months. Yes, and if you want access to this this newsletter, I send it on a weekly basis, usually on Friday or Saturday. You just hit the pin comment on. Well, actually, is it on this stream? Let me check it. I'm gonna pin a comment real quick. I think I lost it. All right, there's my comment. I'm gonna pin it to the top of the stream. If you want access to that newsletter, I'll pin it for you. All right, so let me share my screen again. We're gonna check out this video, and I want to break it down. All right. We say Danny said, "Love Chase." Danny, can't wait to get the Sapphire Preferred. All right, I hear you. Listen, Nino's gonna get that trifecta no matter what. And if you're new to the stream, just want to say what's up. Thank you for tuning in. I know we had some problems today, but listen, we're gonna push through. All right, we're gonna keep it positive. So this video is by CNBC. All right, it says why you should buy everything with credit cards, and they raise some good points, but at the end, some of the advice that they give is really bad. So I'm just gonna correct that and make sure you guys know exactly, and you guys can chime in and let me know if you think I'm wrong here. Bring up my notes. Oh, somebody said, John Paul Preto, he said, your newsletter is amazing, man. Just signed up last week. Man, thank you. That's very heartening. I appreciate that. Trying to make it better every week. All right, let's check this video out.
Also hearing Jennifer Garner ask,
"What's in your wallet?"
Well, what's in your wallet is very important.
Can you guys hear it?
And as for all that credit card rewards talk, she might be onto something.
Most people should be able to save at least a few $100s every year just by using the right credit cards.
If you travel as much as Peyton Manning,
Extra night in San Diego. Morning.
or are a diehard Swiftie trying to save on those expensive concert tickets, as these commercials will tell you, there's a card for everyone. And those cards will save you money. Well, that is, if you have the funds to make the rewards worthwhile.
They could be really useful or they could be dangerous. I think the biggest tip is to know yourself.
Love them or hate them, those plastic or metal cards that can instantly purchase anything from a coffee to a car.
So I think I just want to say in an instant that we saw before, they were swiping. There's an option to use what they call tap and pay, and that's supposed to be more secure. I believe it is. It also is really convenient. I've started using that predominantly. I found that even the terminals at the point of sale, tap and pay works a lot faster and more of the time. Um, and there's actually a story with you have to watch out if you're using tap and pay to actually at the ATM at a Chase Bank, because when you use that function, it won't automatically close out of your account. So somebody can just come directly behind you and withdraw more money from your account. So when using tap and pay at an ATM, you definitely want to click every dialog box to exit out of that transaction. And then also using credit cards is like juggling chainsaws. I like that analogy, where they can be very effective. They can cut through, basically, they can cut efficiently, right? Which is analogous to earning points and rewards. I mean, they can take you on vacations across the world for free, but also if you're getting hit with interest payments because you're carrying a balance, like most people, then they're going to hurt you. They're going to hurt you very bad. And yeah, let's take a look.
Are no stranger to consumers. More than 80% of Americans own at least one credit card. Every time you pay for something with a credit card, you're borrowing money from the card issuer to cover your purchase. While it might feel like it, it's certainly not free. You then have to pay that money back either in full at the end of the month or over time, with interest.
The average credit card charges about 20% interest these days, so it is a very profitable business.
So, first things first. If you're not in a place where you can pay that money back by the time it's due, experts don't recommend you have a credit card at all.
Paying 20% interest on a balance that you've accumulated, and then you pay interest on top of that. I mean, that's a really big hole that you're continuing to dig, and it's going to be really hard to get out of if you don't pay your credit card balance.
Credit cards require approval. Once you're approved, the bank authorizes a credit limit or the maximum amount of money you can borrow. That depends on factors such as your income, your other debts, and how much available credit you have on other cards. But here's the caveat. Whether or not you're approved depends on your credit score. Meanwhile, your credit score is determined by your credit report.
All right, let's stop right there. So they mentioned a few things about the max credit limit. So the max credit limit they mentioned is $10,000. For a lot of people, their starting limit is $10,000. Most consumer credit cards are going to max out at $25,000. And just a few of them, like Navy Federal, will go above that. Business cards can really go to the moon, like they can go upwards of 50 to 75,000. So got to be aware of that. And credit unions will actually charge, if you focus on credit unions like PenFed, Navy Federal, PSECU, Nassau, any credit union will give you mostly a lower credit limit. You can get them down to 15 to 10% to even 8 or 9%. And that's a large distinction from, there's a large difference from the big four banks like Capital One or Chase. They're going to give you an interest rate of like 20+%, I think is the average right now.
The information related to your credit activity you might not have if you don't have a credit card. It's a catch-22.
How do you build your credit history? Well, the simplest thing is really to get a credit card, use your credit card, and pay it on time.
Credit scores generally range from 300 to 850. The higher the credit score, the more responsible you're deemed. Credit scores not only affect whether or not you get approved for credit cards, but also your credit limit and your interest rate on loans, mortgages, and the terms lenders may assign you. Insurance providers, landlords, and employers might also want to do a check to determine your trustworthiness.
If your goals are to buy a house, get a car, get a loan, the first thing that you need to do in order to build your credit history is to get that credit card going.
Those Jennifer Garner commercials are for Capital One, but there are numerous companies in the US that offer a wide range of credit cards. There's the issuers, American Express, Discover, Bank of America.
All right. So one thing I want to say is that they mentioned their credit score, but they never told you which credit score. So this goes along with the story that we covered earlier, where the general public is not seeing exactly what score they need to pay attention to. And they're seeing the Vantage score all over the place. Credit Karma, Credit Sesame, all these free apps are saying, "Hey, here's your Vantage score." I mean, even people that are seasoned vets, they think it's the Vantage score. As far as just older folks, they think it's the wrong one. The FICO score is the one you got to pay attention to. Luckily enough, you can get your free FICO score in a myriad of places. Wells Fargo offers it. Discover will give it to you. My FICO app will give it to you, and you just have to look for it. But even this video all about credit cards and why you should use them for everything, it still doesn't draw that distinction. Critical.
Citi, Wells Fargo, and then there are the networks. They facilitate transactions between the merchants and the card issuers. The four major card networks are Visa, Mastercard, American Express, and Discover. Two of the world's largest card networks, American Express and Discover, are also card issuers. There are standard credit cards, rewards cards, balance transfer, charge, student, business, secured, limited purpose, prepaid cards, and the list goes on. Different options that may or may not be right for you depending on your personal circumstances. Standard credit cards are the most traditional type. They have an annual percentage rate or APR, sign-up bonuses, annual fees, late payment fees, balance transfer fees, foreign transaction fees, and the most exciting, rewards.
All right. So listen, I guess this might be a standard that will have all of these fees, but you can still find a fair amount of cards that are not going to have foreign transaction fees or annual fees. That's where I come in. I love those cards. I only have one annual fee card, and you really can't go wrong, especially starting out. But if you want to use credit cards that don't really impede on your natural typical spending, then you want to go with a no annual fee card most of the time, unless you get really serious. And then also no foreign transaction fees really comes in handy because you just don't have to think about it. If that once or twice a year that you do travel abroad, you're going to Mexico, stay safe if you do that. You're not going to get charged that 3% fee.
There's actually a whole industry dedicated to maximizing credit card points and miles. Some people love it, and they love going down that rabbit hole and treating it like a game.
Bankrate.com senior analyst Ted Rossman earned more than $1,700 in rewards in 2022. But getting the most out of your credit cards depends on your spending habits. Which perks would save you the most money? So how do you choose?
If your family spends a lot on groceries, get a card that gives 5 or 6% cash back on groceries. That's a really nice inflation buster right there. Maybe consider a second card that's just a solid flat rate, something like 2% cash back on everything. Most people should be able to get at least $200, $300, $400 a year just by using the right cards.
I find that most people like a one card setup. If you go with a 2-card setup, you're probably going to want to go for like a 2% cash back. Maybe I prefer the SoFi credit card, but you can also go for the Citi double cash card. And then for a secondary option, the Citi custom cash card, which gives you 5% in your top spending category, could be good. But at that point, you're kind of playing the game because you have to prioritize one specific category at that point. I know another option, it's less appealing for some people in the community, but the Capital One Duo is solid. If you think about it, the Capital One Venture X, along with the Capital One Saver One card, are a nice dynamic duo there because you're getting at least 2 points per dollar or 2 points per mile on every purchase with the Venture X, and you're also getting 5x and 10x on travel purchases with that card. But then you're getting 3 back on, I think, three major categories: dining, entertainment, which isn't offered most places, and then grocery with the Saver One card. So I think it's pretty solid lineup.
Rossman says the rewards that get the most attention are often travel related. Flights, hotels, rental cars, access to airport lounges, free or discounted TSA pre-check, priority passes, global entry, or clear to get you through those long airport lines.
I think a really good strategy for a lot of people is one of those transferable points cards, something like Chase Sapphire Reserve or Amex Platinum. Being able to transfer to different airlines and hotels opens up a lot of options. The sort of next level tip is within that, if you find partners of partners, like United's part of the Star Alliance and American is part of One World.
Then there's rewards for dining, groceries, gas, and also complimentary memberships and subscriptions. Big perks for many are extended warranty and purchase protection.
A couple years ago, I actually saved $300 on an Apple Watch repair. The credit card covered the replacement.
But according to Bankrate, Americans' favorite credit card reward is cashback.
I think especially now with high inflation, I mean, who couldn't use more cash, right?
Whereas redeeming for merchandise will likely not get you the most bang for your buck.
Yeah, that's right. So this is the big tip, guys. The banks know what they're doing. They are experts. If you try to, like every time I go to the gas station, right? I use my Citi Custom Cash Card to get 5% back. I immediately am greeted with the option to use my existing points balance to pay for that gas purchase. But they don't tell you at the point of sale that you're redeeming for quite a bit less than you would have gotten if you just would have gotten a statement credit. And so that's just one of the really kind of, it's a little low down when you think about it, right? They're intentionally trying to give you less value because in the moment, and they're not showing you all the information. And so they're basically trying to save money on their end at any cost. You can see this even when redeeming for Amazon purchases. They want to get in front of you to say, hey, you can go ahead and use your points, but they don't tell you this like half or, 3/4 of the value. Real shame there. Interesting. I always see the fact that, most people outside of our kind of our environment, outside of our niche, the general public, they like cash back. But you wouldn't know it by how many people are watching these chase videos. They're trying to get max value. They're trying to go to Bali on points and upgrade to first class, right? Those are I feel like the travel cards are far more popular in our community than cash back. So it's really interesting to see that for the general public, they prefer cash back.
Other rewards include sign-up bonuses, fraud protection, and having the ability to invest your money and take advantage of interest rates. Another thing to consider is how much work you're willing to do. Are you that person who's going to tape notes onto your cards to remind yourself which should be used for different types of purchases?
Would you ever tape what would you say to somebody if you saw this mess on their cards, right? You see sticky notes, and what are you going to get your credit card laminated next? What this reminds me of? The older folks that will put a phone number on the back of their phone. You ever seen that? Some of the older folks, let me know if you've done that in the comment section. Have you written down your phone number because you couldn't memorize it and you slapped it on the back of your cell phone? This is what this reminds me of. I understand it, right? We got to remember, what I do, I just look at the back because I have two of the same card. I'll look at the last 4 digits and I'll remember it that way. But I just think this is hilarious. Yeah.
I know some people that have 30 or more credit cards and they have really good credit and they get really good perks and they're constantly flying first class for free. Now that's not for everybody, of course. The average American has about 4 credit cards. But even with 4 cards, sometimes there can be a game element to this.
Having multiple cards and playing that rewards game can get you some substantial sign-up bonuses, like the Capital One Venture Rewards credit card's 75,000 miles, or Inc. Business Unlimited's $900 in cash back.
If you are playing this rewards game, which a lot of people like to do because they like that upfront bonus, you're getting a new credit card and then you close it out, you're losing that credit history. So my recommendation is not to do that.
Yeah, definitely don't. So I don't know why we're assuming that people are closing it out. I guess for the average person, might be closing credit cards because they don't know any better. But nope, in our community, like we're not closing credit cards. If you close the credit, like Nino, I know you closed a credit card, but it was not of significant value. But you know, you don't want to be closing those accounts, because when you close out that account, it wipes away that available credit limit. And also, one thing that is never really talked about much is that your relationship. Just think about, you want to have a relationship with every major bank, because if they eventually release a card that you want, or maybe they have a loan product, some sort of product that you want to get access to, it helps that you already have a foot in the door and a card with them or an account with them. So, and then eventually, after a few years, that good payment history will also leave your credit report. So it never hurts just to keep a card, especially if it's a no annual fee card. It doesn't hurt you. Just put it in the sock drawer like we all do.
Only use a credit card if you can use it responsibly.
American credit card
And
balances
also,
reach
I have to mention this as well. You always want to downgrade as opposed to cancel. So if you have a Chase Sapphire Preferred and that annual fee is coming up, it's, what is it, $95? You don't use it enough. You're not getting as much value as you thought you would, and you don't want to pay that $95 fee. Downgrade to the Chase Sapphire, to the Chase Freedom Unlimited or to the Chase Freedom Flex. That's the best way to handle that situation.
reached $986 billion in the last 3 months of 2022.
The big fork in the road is whether or not you carry a balance. If you pay your credit cards in full every month, then yeah, I think you should use your credit card for everything, because rewards are great. They can really add up over time.
Even though it's simple math, a 2022 survey found that among credit card holders who carry a balance, cashback was more than 4 times as popular as a low interest rate. Meanwhile, a large share of those who owe debt, 40%, don't even know the interest rate for the primary card on which they owe money.
Let's talk about that real quick. Like, this is just further indicators, further examples of why people are in the dire situations that they are. It's just, they want to forget about it. They want to sweep it under the rug. So when they get a credit card and they use it up, they max it out, and it's not my money. They just set it to the side, and you say, well, just throw it to the side and try to, act like out of sight, out of mind. But it's still there. It's still negatively affecting your credit score. And the fact that you're concerned about your cash back, what are you going to get? Just think about this logically. You're going to get 2% cash back, but you're paying 20% plus percent on the card. It doesn't make sense. It's a extremely a bad situation. You're losing money every time.
The biggest things that we see about the spending of credit cards and those that are using it incorrectly are those that are either from lower income households, those that are uneducated in this, because no one is talking to them about money.
A recent Bankrate survey found that 30% of those without a high school degree didn't redeem their rewards, compared to 16% with a 4-year degree. And the lower an American's income, the more likely they were to let those rewards sit as well. More than 30% of those with annual household incomes below $50,000 left value on the table, compared to about 20% of those with incomes between $50,000.
So I just want to say how like this makes no sense. The people that need the money the most don't use it. So when you get the cash back, you get the rewards points, you get the bonus miles, you don't use it, but you're making less. You would think so. This is very interesting to me. So this is telling me that people who make less money and are always kind of, have an issue with kind of people that are more well off, that are making more money, they're just not thinking about money that much. Even when the money is in their account, they still choose to not take the extra step to redeeming it. It's just not a thought.
And nearly $80,000, and just more than 10% with incomes of $100,000 or more. Sage Mint Wealth managing partner Ann Tran says culture plays a big part in how people spend.
I grew up in an immigrant family. I wasn't taught about personal finance. You just make as much money as you can and get yourself out and build wealth for yourself.
Tran recommends having 2 credit cards and 3 if you're a business owner. One for primary expenses, a second as a backup, and a third to keep business expenses separate. She says there should also be thought going into your credit card limit and your spending ratio.
Okay, let's stop right there because this is rapid fire bad information. Listen, we all know that you should know that you can never have too many credit cards. You'll never be penalized for having more credit cards open. Okay. Now your inquiries will negatively affect you if you're doing it in rapid succession very quickly. But if you just have a ton of accounts and you haven't applied for anything new in the last 6 months, you're going to be in good shape. The FICO scoring company says that they're high achievers. So what they consider high achievers have on average at least 6 credit cards. Okay. She's recommending half that. They have at least 6 credit cards. So you always want to model yourself after the person that you want to be like, who's in a position that you want to be in, because they know how to get there. They're performing at a high level. So, and it's coming from the FICO scoring company. That's the score that all the banks use to judge your credit worthiness. They say have 6 credit cards. All right. Also, you want to diversify across banks. We saw just like how a bank can go under, just in a lot of situations, FNBO, they will close your account. They will basically, if they see some sort of suspicious activity, or maybe you're using too much of your limit, banks like FNBO, banks like Synchrony, they will close your accounts out. Even if you had $20,000 in available credit, they will get rid of you. Or they will track they'll basically lower your credit limit down as you pay it off. So maybe you start at a $15,000 limit one month, then you pay it off, and now you're at a $1,000 limit. So you want to have relationships with multiple banks just so that you can guard against that. And also you want to have a high credit limit. Higher credit limits give you kind of breathing room, peace of mind, and the best chance of having a lower FICO score, because it's going to lower your credit utilization rate. That's going to give you the best chance to have a low credit utilization rate. And there's a few other ways to do that. You can ask for credit limit increases. You can apply for new credit cards. Or you can, if you have a side business like I do, I was actually using my personal cards for some side business payments and purchases. That was the wrong thing to do. Now that I moved those purchases over to my business cards, I'm able to take that usage away from the personal side. And now I just use 1% every month of my available credit limit on the personal side.
Let's say you have one credit card and you've got a $10,000 limit on there and you spent all the way up to $9,000. That actually will lower your credit score because your credit to debt ratio is not good because you've used up most of your credit. So the rule of thumb is, I would say, try to stick around 30% in using what your credit availability is. And so that's why having a second card will give you a little bit of leeway in giving you more credit to spend.
For those with credit card debt, while experts don't recommend you open multiple credit cards and try to maximize your rewards, that doesn't mean you shouldn't work on ways to build your credit so that you can get to that place.
If you have credit card debt, no shame, a lot of people do, about half of cardholders, but you need to put your interest rate first. So maybe seek out a 0% balance transfer card.
I just want to say, I believe she already covered it. 30%. That's been the rule of thumb for the longest time. You still see it all over the internet. It's completely wrong. Okay, they've been lying to you. Okay, you want to keep your credit utilization below 10%, ideally 1 or 2%. That's going to give you your best chance of giving you the most optimum credits or FICO score for your situation. 30% is not going to cut it. You can get a dramatically better credit score when you pull that utilization below 10%.
Card, or stick to the lowest rate card you can find, or just use cash or debit until you're debt free.
There are a lot of cashback rewards cards that do not have annual fees that will give you 1% back on all your purchases. And that is probably the most simple.
Now, let's say you get to a place where you've got some plastic in hand and you're feeling good about those rewards. The work doesn't end there. She says you should continue to reevaluate your debt and credit cards at least once a month.
Tracking your finances, whether it's on an Excel spreadsheet or using an app like Mint.com, something that will track what all of your assets, all of your debt and liabilities are so that you know.
Yeah, so listen, I know her heart's in a good place. Maybe she's trying to lower the bar for the general public, maybe just to get them doing something before they, just to get them doing a little something. But you want to be checking your accounts on a weekly basis, if not a daily basis. I know a lot of you guys, if you check your bank account and all your other credit card accounts on a daily basis, let me know in the chat. Just say daily. Let me know if you're daily. Let me know. I know I check mine pretty sometimes multiple times a day. If I forgot that I checked it earlier, I'll check it again. I'm like, oh, wait a second, I already opened this. You know what I mean? But monthly, you want to. That's not enough. Okay, to keep you on track, you want to be checking at least weekly. You want to be checking weekly. That's just not enough. Yeah, my guy said 3 times a day. I love Jesus. Okay. I don't mind saying that name. That's a great name there. I got a lot of dailies here. Daily gang.
Where everything is.
And if you're racking up those points, use them. Almost a quarter of rewards credit card holders haven't redeemed any rewards in the past year. And that's an improvement from the 31% of those who didn't in the preceding 12 months.
It doesn't get more valuable over time. In fact, a lot of times these programs change their rules in ways that the industry calls devaluations. Like basically it costs more points or miles to get the free flight or the free hotel stay. So use them sooner rather than later, and then cash back too. That can lose value to inflation.
Most people are scared of money, and you shouldn't be. If you know the facts and you understand how money works, it can be really empowering.
Yeah, so money, listen, it's mind-boggling to me that people aren't using their rewards. They try to show it to you every time you open your account, but again, they're not opening their accounts. It's free money. Like who doesn't want free money? I think that just the simple task of logging in and clicking the button is just too much for some people. It's like maybe if they go that far, they'll actually see how much they owe, and they want to be reminded of that. And yes, somebody mentioned, yes, the devaluations do happen, especially on the not so much for ultimate rewards or membership rewards from Amex, because those are transferable, but you do want to use them on a pretty frequent, maybe every season, every 6 months at least, use those rewards, because you're going to be, with the inflation rate as it is, you're going to get less and less for that value. So one thing I also saw, let me go back to so one thing that they also mentioned was people are scared of money. Why are people scared of money? When I kind of brainstorm this, I think people are scared of money because they're ignorant to it. So you're scared of what you don't know. And so, if you don't understand the inner workings of some of these mechanisms, like a credit card, you're going to think it's a scam. You're still going to have one, but you're going to be very afraid of using it because you don't know what's going to happen on the other side. After you swipe it, what happens? Do you instantly get charged fees? It's harder for me to be empathetic to people now because information is free. I mean, you could easily you could log onto this stream, or you can watch Ask Sebi, or you can go read a book. I mean, it's all just free and available. You can go chat GPT. It'll tell you real quick what's going on there. Just take 3 hours and do it. I think also helplessness is an issue why people are scared of money. I think if you're in a position where you don't feel empowered, where you feel like you don't have a say or the ability to positively change your life, that means you feel helpless. So it really doesn't matter what you do, you're still going to be kind of a victim. You're still going to be helpless. And you're scared when you're in that position because you feel like there's nothing you can actually do to change it, to lift yourself up. And also, I think responsibility. I touched on this earlier. I think people don't feel they don't want to have responsibility. It's a pain point. They don't want to take responsibility for paying it and not getting everything that they feel like they deserve. So. And also, guys, I want you to know, if you want, again, the 12 free credit limit increase cheat sheet, it's available in the pinned comment of the stream. I also have, with that same, what you'll get when you sign up for the newsletter, you'll get that, plus you'll get a link to this travel partner lookup tool, which is like kind of like it's a document that you can just browse and see, and you can pick what whether you have a Chase card or an Amex card. So you could pick the point system, and then you pick the flight carrier that you're going to be using. So it's going to be American Airlines, or it's going to be Delta, and it will show you the proper transfer partners to use. All right. Also, you'll get a brand new website that I found, which is Roam, which it takes that and it kind of takes it to the next level. It's going to show you the proper transfer partner. It's going to show you, and it's going to pair that up with the actual flight data. So you basically can do a flight search for Delta in this situation, and you can see you can use Chase or Virgin Atlantic to book this flight with their point systems. And also, I'll give you a link to this tool which shows the latest bonus rewards, and it'll basically give you, it'll show you whether it's at an all-time high or whether it's, so you can make a decision whether you want to wait to apply for a card based upon the value of the sign-up bonus at this moment. All right, so we got a few. I just want to say what's up to everybody, man. I know we had a rough start to the stream, but I'm glad that you hung in there with me. I see Big Jim RC, you said, thank you, Cal. All you do to educate and help others. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. I'm just trying. Did anybody get approved for a new card, or did you get approved for a credit limit increase? I'm going to shout you out on the stream. Shanika, welcome back. I haven't seen you in a minute, so it's good to have you back on the stream. Yeah. Somebody said Chase Freedom Flex Unlimited news. Yeah, so the Freedom Flex just unveiled 2 new categories. I believe it's Amazon and I can double check that for you. Amazon and Lowe's. So there's the 2 5% categories are Amazon and Lowe's. All right, congrats to Kelvin. You said got approved for the City Custom Cash and SoFi. Nice, man. I love those two. You definitely picked 2 good ones. Oh, Julian, what's up, man? You said Chase Freedom Rise. So yeah, if you don't know, I don't think I covered this in the stream. I should have. So Chase Freedom Rise is just a new card that has been it went through, what do you call it? Basically, they found evidence that it's a new card in development for Chase, and because it has freedom in the title, you know it's going to be akin or on the level of a Freedom card. So like the Freedom Flex or Freedom Unlimited, it's going to be a little bit more entry level, giving you, um, requiring at least a 700 credit score, most likely. I don't really see Chase giving us a credit builder card or something that's like that would pair or compete with like a Discover It card or an Apple card. I don't see Chase doing that. That's just not their MO. They kind of peg themselves as like a premium brand like Apple, and like an iPhone. Dark Dude, man, thank you. I appreciate the super chat, man. Thank you so much. Danny said he's in the garden. Sorry, Nino, you said you're in the garden. Okay, I hear you. Listen, I should be in the garden. I said I was gonna wait until next like January to apply for a business card, but I think I might work on the business side in the next few months. I'll work on a few of those cards. Blicky Gang, you said, what do you think about PinFed cards? I'm not really big on PinFed. I can't. They have I believe they have a 2% card. They have a decent lineup, but I think the relationship with PinFed is the most valuable part about their offering. I don't think, if you want to think long term, do you want to do business with them? They probably have more better rates for maybe car loan or home loan. That's the angle that I would think about PinFed for, not so much for their card lineup. F. Davis, man, thank you so much, sir. You said another great chat, as always. I appreciate that, man. Even with the technical difficulties, appreciate you, man. Yeah, Nino, I agree with you right there. You said Chase needs to add groceries and gas on the Freedom Rise card. Listen, that'd be nice. That would fill it out. I know I hit him hard with that video of kind of blasting them because they're missing those 2 categories, but they would stand to benefit if they filled out their bonus categories with that, with those gas and grocery, because then you have to look elsewhere to get those bonuses. If you could just keep your customers in the same card ecosystem, then you can have more brand loyalty, I think. Big Jim RC, man, thank you for stopping by. You didn't say anything, but listen, I appreciate you for the super chat. Definitely appreciate that. I see some other people saying daily from earlier. If you check your account daily, I hear you. That's a good practice to have. I think it just gets more important as we get older. Like you really want to set yourself up where because we need the money. You're on your own, yourself, you're independent. Nobody's gonna come and help you bail you out. So you need to keep track of all your money. Yeah, Just B said, is the grocery 5% going away for Chase Flex Unlimited? That's just a temporary, I think it's a 1-year deal. they'll give you as part of their sign up bonus, where they'll give you either one of those, and they've been alternating that over the last 2 years. And I believe the max spend on those categories is $12,000 in a year. So my thing is that they like, some of these cars like Chase and Amex, they like to give you these temporary benefits, all well and good for the time that they last, but I want permanent benefits so that I know I can count on it. Danny, man, thank you for looking out. You said loving the stream. Wow. I gotta build it back up. But I promise you this, that we're not gonna have any issues going forward, because now I'm actually paying for this. So guys, I think we got everything out the way here. Guys, I do this every Sunday at 7 p.m. I'm gonna be back again next Sunday, 7 p.m. Like always, I appreciate you hanging with me. All right, everybody have a good night. Yes, I will bring back the background music. I'm gonna figure that out. Everything's gonna be. I'm working on it. As after this stream, I'm gonna work hard to get it back to everything back to normal. Everybody have a good night.